Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Experience 112 Blind. Now, I'm still here at the bottom of the sea, trying to get into the underground base, but the thing is, I don't really know where to go now. Presumably, it has been said that a hatch has opened in the middle, but I don't know where the middle is.
I have nothing more to tell you. Focus.
Yeah, as you can see, Lea is not impressed with my overall state of being. I'll float over this, although to me it seems to be still closed, so I don't think that's it. But I hope that if I cover close to it, she will at least comment on it or something. But as I said, I don't think this is it, because this doesn't look opened.
Thanks a million. Time to open the hatches, and then I can get out of this metallic prison cell. Look out, I'm disconnecting the area server. This place, I've seen it,
I guess this is the correct place after all. Well, good to know.
Coming swimming? The water's great.
Later. I'm staying in the sun. I really miss it when I'm in the lab.
You should take some time in the fresh air from time to time. It would do you well.
That's forbidden. Zeitfeld would lose it if he learned I had left the ship.
He won't know. Nobody will know. We're alone on this beach, you and I.
Another flashback. 112. I don't understand. You're losing your mind, girl.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't understand either, because it seems that I'm 112, because I've seen, the world from his eyes a couple of times already, but he was supposedly lost behind.
Did you know this is the first time I've entered this place? Tanker personnel had very little contact with the advanced base. The researchers working for this department were supposed to keep their activities under wraps. It was very rare if one of us visited them or even left the subterranean base. I think many of them worked without seeing the light of day for months. I wonder if the advanced base suffered an attack like the supertanker did. Who knows? Maybe there are rescued personnel here. It would be such a relief to meet someone. Aha! There's the area service switch. I'm going to enable it so you can take over the area cameras. All done.
Okay.
It's time to enter new objectives. Perfect. There's a terminal. The most important one is to go through the Tyriad doors. They shouldn't be too much farther.
Yeah, but seemingly maybe I'm 112, but first of all, he disappeared behind the
But first
tirade.
I should activate the freight elevator. I don't think there's any other base access point.
Behind the tirade gate, and second of all, even if he
Here
did
we
return,
are. Now what?
he would obviously know a lot more about the place than I as a player do, so I find it kind of weird. And second, it's weird how she escaped the ship even though it was supposedly forbidden to go outside.
Let's not waste time. Every minute counts.
Like, how did the military not notice that? You'd think they would monitor the exits most of all.
I'm on a freight elevator now, and this appears to be the car. Maybe it controls the skid platform. Let's try it and see. Okay, so far so good. But I can't see the floor commands. We can access them from the security system. A window must... Thanks.
Okay, so we went down, but is this where she wanted to go? Difficult to tell.
Thanks. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Well, it did take me somewhere. Some kind of an office? But how is that connected?
The rotating emergency light turned on. All right, you want me to change floors?
Do I? Well, let's go all the way down and see what happens. Interesting, because from this perspective it almost looks... Ah, okay. So it is lower.
Thanks.
So I'll check the ground floor.
Incredible.
First.
I've never seen anything like this. People talked about the advanced base, but this, it's beyond belief. The structures seem human, but the rest, I don't recognize them. Not even a lichen.
So
This lichen is strange. It feels different than most. Could this be a neighboring world with different plants and different animals? If this were true...
what did she find?
There! Did you see? That shadow. Yes, I'm sure it moved.
Okay, to be honest...
Maybe it's a security robot. There were some in the advanced base. Your cameras will see it better than I can. If only the pedestal was better lit. Can you help? Done? Can't see too much more. The electric generator must be tired. I'm not gonna get anywhere without any lights. So where do we go now?
To be honest, I wasn't paying that much attention. So if something did move, then I didn't really notice.
There's a river too. There, under the floor grids. And that lichen growing without light? A real mystery. Hey, the phone? I get it, it's you.
Seriously, is there nothing of interest in this whole office? I find that pretty weird. But I guess it is so. There's some corpses.
Did you hear that? The robot. I'm scared. Let's hide in these offices.
Yeah, let's hide in these offices with the corpse.
Phew. What a relief. My God, and here I had hoped that the advanced base has escaped the attacks. I stand corrected, alas. If you weren't there, I'd be worried to be the only Eden Project survivor.
This must have been someone with a delicate constitution. Maybe a woman? Who worked here? I can't remember. Lise Monfleur, the computer specialist? A key, and there around her neck a map. Very interesting. Sorry to disturb you, Lise, but I don't have much choice. I'll leave you now. I hope that the next world is more agreeable to you than this one had been.
I did already read.
This is surely one of Lisa's parents. There's a familiarity there. Yes, it must be her mother. Oh, look, there's a name written on it. Maddie. I'm sure it's there for a reason. Make a note. This could be useful later.
Okay, indeed, because I have the her general password, but I don't have the password for her restricted files, which would be this, right? So, Maddie. Yeah. And Nancy Edwards codes. Sensuality. I didn't read Nancy Edwards' private files either. I did know her general password. Could you stop?
Hey, wait! What's happening to me? Ah! Ah! Let's get out of here!
I think she's being killed by the Tyrate warrior. Oh, it didn't kill her.
Did
which
you
is
did you see
interesting.
that? So these creatures are indeed quite real. What a scare. It swallowed the security robot in one bite. And my charm. What if it hadn't warned me? I'd be dead for sure. Therefore, there's a link between this charm and the creatures. Maybe they made it themselves. But then why do I have it? These questions are giving me a headache.
Yeah, I don't know why she has it, but I knew from the beginning it must be important, obviously.
Okay, stay strong. I must move on and reach the Tyriad doors. This map and key will surely help. Above all, we need to resolve the electrical power supply problem. Where is the control room? Let's change floors. We'll eventually find it.
Okay, so she wants me to... and there is the robot, right? She wants me to... oh, it seems to be just a vacuum cleaner or something. She wants me to change floors, but I would prefer if she stayed in place for a bit, so that I can read the files. Nancy Edwards codes. Nancy is a great girl, but is vulnerable and overly sensitive to the judgment of others. She makes me think of a movie star that led such a wonderful life and then died of overdose. A terrible secret is eating her up, though I don't know which. I submit the following to protect her from herself. I had the general password, but I didn't have the sensitive file, sensuality. She must be helped. I'm afraid she'll do something irreparable if not. The base has not recorded any suicide by any base personnel, despite many attempts which were not reported. I am convinced that Nancy was one of those. She is not the kind to let herself be beaten down, but the drugs are limiting her defenses. She could lose her footing in a moment of weakness. Abuses of power by M. Lincoln, Security Unit Chief. I've been a computer specialist for 15 years now, and I have never met anyone so mean, brutal and vindicative as our security chief, Michael Lincoln. He is the kind of man who will volunteer to torture his enemies during combat. In fact, he probably drowned cats for fun during his childhood. A truly horrible man. From our first meeting, I knew he would make my life difficult. Alas, I was all too right. Not one day passes without being called into his office for some harsh words. Earlier, he accused me of having misplaced one of his files, and earlier of having changed his profile photo, or not having allocated enough money to his files. No, enough memory to his files. Of course, these are all lies. Any pretext is good to make me cry. There is nothing I can do. I hate him. Ascending Abyss. Those who have seen the Ascending Abyss consider it a living thing. It is something that responds, initiates discussions, and appears intelligent. It is said that there is a profound but undefiable link between the Abyss and the Tyrate community. If the abyss is hurt in any way, it is the tirades who suffer, but if good is done unto it, it is also done to the tirades. Furthermore, a tirade can know the moral state of the community and each caste by smelling the complex odors emanated from the abyss. 98 identified compounds. There is surely some truth to these rumors, but can we believe the stories told of the tirade voyages that take place in the abyss, with winds that carry them to faraway lands? Sounds more like a fairy tale to me. Tirade Island. There is no proof of any kind about an existing hierarchy among the tirades. Certainly, there is a queen presiding over the fate of the community, but this power appears to exist without any real exercise of authority. We believe, however, that combat tirades, a martial caste trained for war, have a similar organization to human armies, with captains, colonels and generals, the latter of which live on an isolated island, a kind of mineral fortress where they convene their council. Matters related to the security of the tirades are solely considered during immutable rituals. I don't know how to gauge the veracity of this rumor among the various circulating dozens of other rumors. Jack Lowell's codes. Jack Lowell recently gave me his computer to be fixed. I couldn't resist lifting the codes and making note of them here, should he ever be of any use to me. It's become a game between us. The first one able to retrieve the other one codes earns the advantage for a few days or a few hours before being exposed himself. Today Jack is the victim, therefore Jack Lowell, password, Oceacan, sensitive files, Melkar. Okay, no regrets, Jack. Observations on tank CT7 and CT8. Much is said about the tanks and most of it is foolish. I am forbidden, as per regulation, to publicly divulge what I know, but it doesn't stop me from making a note about a few things here. I have never been through the door to the tanks, however I must manage its computer and therefore precisely know of its contents. Well, at the risk of belying the rumors, I can confirm that there are neither missile silos, nor giant cold rooms, nor liquid nitrogen tanks, where millions of viruses are kept. However, I will confirm that there are experiments ongoing there that could not take place anywhere else. Tank number 7 is merely a biology lab, but tank number 8 contains equipment found nowhere else on the base, some kind of an incubator, electronically linked to the central structure, branched out like a tree. Like everyone else, I'm curious to see it with my own eyes. So I guess I was there. That was the giant tree/alien creature with the tubes, and the lab was right next to it, which seems to be corroborated by this. So I guess I will now enter sensuality. Her sensitive files. So Nancy. Now where is it? Sensuality. Lisbon floor codes. Maddie. I've read that already. I've come there. I've come here from her files in particular. The Maddie file. I admit my personality isn't easy. I hate that I am ignored. I can't stand leaving people indifferent, but when a lover becomes too invasive, floods my inbox with love letters, it makes me crazy, it irritates me. Poor Lisbon Floor just found out how much it bothers me. Her only error was to have sought me out outside of the regular weekly meetings, and what was to happen happened. She surprised me in the arms of another man and made quite a scene, calling me a woman of little virtue. I was angry for several days just for form, and then we made up. But I've kept this secret boiling inside me until it grew into an act of vengeance. Don't hate me if I reveal here something in French, which I can't read even a bit of French, so this is nonsense to me. As they say, all is fair in love and war. I've read her files already, Michael Lincoln's codes. There is something shared between all the members of the base personnel, a shared sentiment. It is the hatred toward Michael Lincoln. How can I have fallen for this brutal, sadistic evil man, with skills better honed to torture than to lovemaking? I try to ignore it, but deep down I know. I want him precisely because he dominates me, because he has no regard for me, and treats me like a prostitute. The more scared I am, the more attracted I become. But even with this position of power over me, I can still see his faults, and the characteristics that make him detestable to his colleagues. No one will blame me if I make the use of the last of my line of defense against him, an explicit leak of information. Therefore, here is the access code to his sensitive files, which the readers can make up their own minds about this sinister character. Order. So I haven't read his sensitive files, so that's good to know. Abdallah Malik's codes, which I have read already. I was rereading earlier small book entitled Artificial Paradises, written by Charles Baudelaire, about opium and hashish. Drugs provided him with great relief and lessened his suffering. Alas, it has been a long time since drugs have provided me any pleasure. They satisfy only one need, my body's most pressing need. Withholding my doses even a few hours launches me into trances. I've become irritable and aggressive. The dependency becomes stronger over time, much like Dr. Malik's hold on me. He is the only one who can provide me with the drugs my body wants, and he knows how to take advantage. I must comply with his every fantasy, even the most sordid, and I often feel like his puppet on a string. I submit the advice to each and everyone. Keep your distances from this man. No one will blame me from providing this confidential information, as I believe it will serve everyone's best interests. Okay, and his stuff I've already read. Aldo Lucani codes, which this guy I haven't entered his files at all, so there is that. Luciani is a brave guy, the kind of guy girls marry after having dismissed them as a teenager. I don't know how exactly he came to me, since he's not at all my kind of man, but he has charm, presence, and a child's smile that suits him. He is very shy, especially before female colleagues. He waited 6 months before talking to me, and only after having spilled the coffee on my dress by accident. People don't know what to make of him, but acknowledge his abilities for analysis and abstraction. He doesn't have many friends on the base, and this is unfortunate, just in case. Who knows, maybe this slight indiscretion will motivate in you a desire to meet him. Ah, so she sent it... Wait, no. What does it mean, in you? I thought she sent it to Nancy Edwards, but I am in the files of Nancy Edwards. This is her. She didn't send it anywhere. It's her private notes. So I don't quite remember that. I mean, quite understand that, but this is new information. Nancy, I love you. Oh, this is from Aldo. This is from this guy. Dear Nancy, it's almost midnight and I am writing this letter from the control room, currently deserted. The turret doors are hidden in darkness, but faraway noises can be heard, confirming that predators roam the Highland forest. My thoughts are only of you. Where are you at this hour? Is there a man at your side? I agreed to share you with others, since you yourself admitted that faithfulness bores you. But I have trouble accepting scum like Lincoln can touch you. I know you have no feelings for him and that your relationship is casual. Nonetheless, this man is capable of anything. I'd like to help you leave him, but you seem to be dependent on him, and you admitted to me as if you were dependent on drugs. Listen, I'm leaving you my codes in case you might need them, which is a repeat of this. You see, I have no secrets from you. I send my kisses and hope to see you soon. Atmosphere of the Tirade world. I am dismayed that no serious study has ever been undertaken about the atmosphere of the subterranean world where resided the Tirades and where my colleagues and I inhabit for a great part of the year. Sure, the tests have been conducted, but they were brief and focused only on the oxygen content of the confined space to ensure we could travel within without any apparatus. We know that air pockets inside certain subterranean cavities are unbreathable since they are saturated with carbon dioxide, but we had a precise chemical analysis of the Tirade's atmosphere. We might find psychodyspeptic substances there, that is, substances affecting the psyche. It is well known that the scientists living with the Tirades develop, over time, mental disorders, as is the case with Jack Lowell and Paul Germish. It is also the case for me. The subdued and measured consumption of drugs corrects these dysfunctions, but it produced a painful dependency, and without exaggeration, the remedy is often worse than the ill. Okay. Suicide. Well, those are corrupted, but there was yet there is this guy's file. There is Lincoln's sensitive files, but there is also in Lismon Floor's files there was another code for someone. I like to do it in order because then after a bit I will forget. Yeah, Jack Lowell's codes. Okay, so let's copy this, and Melkar is the code to his sensitive files. Lowell. Melkar. Okay. So, emails. Hello. This is from Jack Lowell to Paul Germish. Okay, this is Paul Germish's details. Okay, you know what? This is a lot of things, a lot of reading at once. I think I'm going to finish reading Jack Lowell's files and then try to proceed at least a little bit with the actual gameplay, and then refer to the files in case I need to a little bit later, because otherwise I can spend the next hour just reading the files. And to be honest, at this time of day, or rather night, when I'm recording it, the font is a bit straining on my eyes, so yeah, I'll read what he has here, starting from the emails. Hello Paul, I'm sorry I don't know you better, or at least do not engage more freely in discussions with you when we cross each other, though rarely in the hallways. That's so stupid. There is merely a handful of scientists mandated in the exterior base, as they rarely interact with each other. Hello Jack, I completely agree. I also deplore our narrow professional dynamic. Even in this strange world, there are opportunities for distraction that we do not capitalize on. When was the last time I played a game of cards? It's been years. You'll have to teach me, Paul. I don't know anything about card games. Deal. Listen, Jack. I wish to express my sympathies. I rarely publish my codes, but I am happy to do it for you, if it'll serve to get us closer to one another. My alias, password, code for sensitive files. As you can see, I have nothing to hide. Paul, thank you, I'm very touched. Okay, not reading this yet, I want to finish reading the emails. Paul Garnish is not one to complain. Okay, I read that already actually, from some other... because I remember this part that I'm certain no petition would have included his signature. I've read that already from the other side, as it were. Read that also from Nancy Edwards. I mean, to Nancy Edwards. I read this in her inbox about the study of the motor functions of the tirades. And this is to Paul Germish. No, from Jack Lowell to Paul Garnish. Hello Paul, you're back? Hello Jack, yes indeed. I've traveled to the abyss and can attest that the experience is neither painful, as others have alleged, or even troubling. It's quite comfortable, so long as the voyage parameters are well defined. Feels like a slow immersion into warm water. You should try it. We'll see, Paul. Did you resolve the wind turbulence problem at the top of the abyss? Almost. We've identified a slightly convex rocks lamina that is surely the root of the turbulence. We'd like to adjust it, but the tirades are opposed to this idea. They consider the abyss a sacred ground. I understand. Clearly, the tirades' world holds within many surprises. Okay. Does he have any codes? Yeah, codes to access the security doors of the abyss tunnel. And suddenly now it can scroll. So would it work with Dimitrenko as well? Where is he? Yeah, it doesn't. It's weird. I try to scroll here and it doesn't work, and yet it does with some of the others. Like for example, where was I? No, really, where was I? It wasn't Namrik. It wasn't Dimitrenko. Whose files am I currently reading? I might be too tired to really comprehend what I'm doing. John Palmer. Ah, it's Lowell. Jack Lowell. Okay, it doesn't scroll here either now, so to be honest, I have no idea how this works. Well, let's continue on to his files. Psychic disorders. All my colleagues are aware. Being called to the advanced base is bad news, despite the salary increase and the isolation premium. Think about that French speleologist who stayed in a cave 100 meters below the earth. We are in the same situation, cut off from the world, deprived of the sunlight and its benefits, living reclusively in a cement cell with artificial light. Not surprising that the majority of my colleagues now suffer from psychological disorders, more or less serious, evolving from simple depression to acute schizophrenia. I am no exception. Several weeks after starting my post, I incurred a depressive episode that was maintained and has now become my natural state. I am haunted by dark thoughts, and suicide is a bitter temptation on many days. I write this note as a cry for help, and as a warning, do not accept to be transferred into the advanced base. Your health depends on it. A report on the turnover of the last 10 receptors. I might have read that already, but I'm not sure. A pretty young woman, active and volunteering, she made friends with all the members of the base personnel, which has since been greatly regretted. Her opposite, an unpleasant and vain man who refused to follow orders and refused to use the language pack. He surely did not survive long in the Tirate's world. An unobtrusive young man, former student and military royalist. We had interesting discussions before he went through the doors. Interrupted training pursuant to an allergic reaction to HO did not complete his mission. Suspended training pursuant to Receptor's request. A shame in the light of her apparent abilities. A young woman with apparent abilities. She was equipped with an updated version of the language pack. No news to this day. A frighteningly thin young female drug addict interrupted training pursuant to Professor Seidfeld's request, the third aborted mission this year. Our concerns were submitted to the program director. A very young female receptor, who escaped during her transfer to the base, died during inhalation training a dark day. A very young woman from a modest family with a background in science and interesting abilities, reminds me of number 107. Good acquired tolerance to HO from inhalations. She went through the doors and returned 6 weeks later. Mentally affected to a high degree, suicide. And number 112, which is presumably maybe me, an important rumor preceded him. He was said to be very able, a perfect candidate from the start, but unappreciated by the team due to his surly personality and close bonds with Lea Nichols, the training coordinator. Not highly esteemed by Seidfeld, ultimately a quiet boy, a dreamer, who went through the doors as if he was running an errand. He appeared to evolve naturally with the environment, and he was able to easily breathe the dangerous air of the Tirate's world, whereas most receptors coughed and spit after inhalations. We thought he would return, but to this day, September 5th, 1970, there is no news from him. Theory and the background of the Tirates and Oxaldines. It was difficult to gather the details of the historical crossing between the Tirates and the Oxaldines. In fact, the few Eden researchers having worked on this are jealously quiet on the matter, and any related documents are difficult to access. I was nonetheless, by deduction and aggregation, able to generate the following chronology. For thousands of years, the Tirates and Oxaldine races, from the latter of which descend modern humans, lived on Earth in harmony, and one day the Oxaldines conquered all power and expelled the Tirates into the subterranean world. This unknown race continued to evolve unbeknownst to humans, who on their side lost all memory of their ancient neighbors. Only the members of the reminiscent Amnesis, a secret brotherhood, maintained the history of the Tirates that they sought to exterminate. For reasons unknown, crises ensued among the Tirates, and is reflected in the confrontation between the various castes. One of our receptors appears to have played a role in the resolution of this conflict. Undoubtedly it was number 112. I know, alas, no more than this. Wait, how can they know that the subject 112 played a vital role in solving some conflict or something among the Tirates if they never heard back from him after he left? Like, he supposedly never returned, so I don't quite understand how that works, but... okay, that's a lot of files. But I want to finish reading this because then I want to remember at which point I ended. So I want to be done with this particular person. And I guess, seeing what the time is of the episode, I guess it's also going to be the end of the episode itself. I'll try to get something more done in the next one, as opposed to just reading. But for now, report on the turnover of 112 and his encounter with the Tirates. When I met Receptor 112, 10 days had already passed since he had gone through the doors. He appeared to be in good physical condition As opposed to his predecessors, all receptors I had met previously suffered from migraines and respiratory problems from the start of their voyage, explaining why we are equipped with a small pharmacy. I therefore assumed that 112 encountered communication tirades to whom we teach the basics of the human language. The encounter took place without any difficulty. The tirades emitted an abundance of beta and delta pheromones, reflecting their high interest in this interlocutor. The latest news revealed that he would soon obtain the audience with Queen Post-Ocean X7. This is a great honor, as no member of the base personnel has ever met the heiress to the tirade's throne. I wonder how he was granted such an honor. So they did, he has never returned, but they did maintain contact with him for some time at least, I guess. Alleged linkage between 112 and the heiress to the throne. Eden base authorities ill-received the news of the receptor's disappearance, officially recorded October 8, 1970. Harsh words were expressed by several laboratory supervisors, qualifying the repeated missions of test subjects into the tirade's world as a scientific aberration. The response appears to me inappropriate. Admittedly, he no longer has any contact with scientific personnel, nor with tirade informants, to the point where they groan upon broaching the subject. But his unexpected audience before Queen, supreme leader of the tirades, might indicate that his disappearance was voluntary and not accidental. Personally, I think that he established some kind of a pact with the tirades, or an understanding which they content. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Shouldn't it be the content of which remains to us unknown? It remains judicious to re-establish contact with 112 rather than to confirm without proof his disappearance. After all, he is our agent in the tirade's world, and his closeness with those creatures might remain useful to us. Queen Post-Ocean X7. It is difficult to a human mind to understand what the tirade queen represents to her community. Not only is she the chief executive, presiding over the destinies of her people, but she is also the incarnation of the spirit and even the soul of the tirades. Born from a distinct caste, the procreation of renewal, she is by nature and by profession a superior being, guaranteed to become a major player in the history of the race. If all queens are remarkable, one of them is in the future. If all queens are this remarkable, one of them in the future is, according to the tirades, exceptional. Her characteristics, of course, cannot be translated into human concepts. However, she is characterized by what should be known as courage, will, patience, charisma, and above all, exceptional intelligence that allows her to manage the most difficult situation. It is by far the most important figure among the tirade's elite. Okay. The legend of the charm and the site of convergence. This might be maybe about the charm that Lea is wearing. Still don't know how she got that, but the tirades and their legends, much like aborigines. How do you read that? Traveling in the dream world, they give their stories the power to predict the future. Among the traditional tales confided in me, many having an initiatory purpose, and are rarely shared beyond the caste to which they belong, two have struck me as special: the legend of the charm and the legend of the site of convergence. The charm is a tirade-made object whose existence remains unverified. It is said to be made by a goldsmith, by the queen herself in fact. However, a human participated in its design. The charm's link to the tirade's population is relatively obscure, composed of specific chemicals and vibrations, like a tuning fork vibrating to the ambient air. The charm responds to the presence of the tirades, but also to any creature, animal or vegetal from the subterranean world. It is a hydroxan oxygen sensor and also able to secrete it. The site of convergence legend is very different. I retell it here as told by Million, communication tirade. Among us it is written that two ancient races, the tirades and the Oxaldines, shall give birth to a third race who shall be the source of eternal stability. A convergence site will allow for their linkage. As humans are known to be the descendants of the Oxaldines, this tale appears to say that the tirades and humans are destined to fuse together to create a new entity. Unbelievable? It is a great story in any case. Secured official codes, Paul Grumish, which I already had from one of the other employees, but I'm not going to enter those because I would spend like next half hour just reading. I'll wait until the game, decides that it's actually relevant for me to enter one of those files, which presumably it will. Video recording of the 112's last moments. Okay, that's interesting.
The moment has come to forsake the last object linking me to the human realm. I don't need this camera. I leave behind friends and family, and may they forgive me. I feel like from now on, my life is here.
Okay, so it's pretty clear that he left voluntarily, although it seemed at the end that he was attacked, but I don't think that was the case because he himself was far too calm. He didn't scream or run or anything when the tirades jumped at him, so it's clear that he discovered something in the other world that made him decide that he wants to actually stay. But whatever it was, I'm going to look for that next time. For now, I will just change the floor because after saving and exiting the game, when I return, I might not remember that I was supposed to do that. So, wait.
Okay, let's change floors. Let's go.
Okay, she has to flip the switch because she herself suggested I should do it. So level 3 is this, which is pretty pointless because it doesn't seem to be linked to anywhere else I could get from here. So I guess I will go to level 2, which is somewhere out here.
Lead the way.
Okay, so she exited down. Wait. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure where am I, nor what exactly am I doing. Where is she? She's still in there? Probably. Yeah. Okay, she's moving forward somewhere around here. And she did actually approach this door.
I'm updating the objectives.
Okay, that's decent. That will be a decent moment to actually end the episode on. Although, might as well walk to the end of this.
This elevator should lead to the control station. Too bad it doesn't seem to work. Unless the map or the key...
Okay, so I guess this is currently pointless.
Victory.
Oh, not really. Well, I wasn't...
Finally, we're getting somewhere.
I wasn't planning on entering this elevator, but I guess that's where fate has led me. But this just goes... Okay, so this is in fact pretty...
We're in luck. This is the control room. From here we can control the electric generators. Turning the lights back on should be a breeze, but I'll need your help.
Okay, so in fact, this is not at all pointless, because this is a different section from where I was initially with the main elevator. So this is indeed very useful if what she says is correct, and I can control the lights from around here. Okay, don't go, damn it. I didn't realize she was going to go all the way back to the elevator if I click on this. I would prefer if she stayed right here, because...
So now how does this work? I should be able to connect the system to the intranet. Maybe like this? Amazing, it's working! These old technologies have certainly proven themselves. Oh no, I spoke too soon. Now what do we do? Ah, there's the light again. The auxiliary generators must have kicked in. I hope they'll hold. They don't look like they're in good shape.
So I'm not sure if
I'm really not lucking out. This time there's no other way. We have to fix it. Lead me to the auxiliary generators. I'll try to figure out the source of the problem. But first, let me update the objectives.
Would you, stand in place for a moment? So what is my objective? Start the 2 auxiliary generators on the upper level.
Aren't the generators large turbines?
Well, I don't know. But what does this end do? Is there another elevator here? That could lead to the other side or something? Well, apparently not, because she's not doing anything. If I click on this... Well, anyway, I'll try to fix the generators next time, because this episode has been long enough, so I'm going to save here and actually end it. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!